I'm tuning into y'all and listen to some of your strategies because the story you just gave me was phenomenal. I know where I'm an expert at, and I know where I'm not. And this is not the space, so I'm a baby in the social media game.
But I think you're making it more complex, bro. As your brother, right?
Okay.
Simplify it. The shit you just told us is the shit you need to show everybody else. Because at the end of the day, what is your main purpose and passion? From what I heard, is making sure people that look like us are able to have these opportunities to create generational wealth. That's what I got out of it, right?
For sure.
So if what they want to see in it, you got to show them the hard work, but then you also have to show some flaws. You got to say, yo, look, I did this. Y'all brought that. You know this joint right here, this historical building. Do you know it's black owned? Did you know it's black owned? I don't know if you knew. But this is black owned, right? Do you want to know how this became a black owned business? Click the motherfucking link. I'll give it to you right now. So shit like that. It's being your authentic self just in areas, but it's training and conditioning your mind to say, look, everything is content. Yeah. Everything is content, bro. The way you prepare, the way you think, your downtime, all of that shit is content. It's just hard to put a camera in your face all the fucking time. But if you get yourself and condition yourself to say, look, everything I do, regardless of what it is, right? Because your story alone, from what you've done and being $250 million in sales, bro, you could be selling that shit to Netflix.
Yeah.
You could be selling that shit to Home and Garden, HGTV, Better Homes and Gardens, all that. You could be the go-to. There's no reason. We actually had who's the dude from Netflix? Owning Manhattan.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yes, I can't think of. Sorry, I forgot his name, but we had Jordan March. That's my brother. I worked with him. He's my first sales gig. We went down to the office, met the entire team. Sirhan.
Yeah. Sirhan, yeah, Ryan Sirhan.
Ryan Sirhan went to the Sirhan office, bro. Did a podcast live stream from inside their office.
That's cool.
Got the whole shit, bro. So it's like, yo, you can do it. There's not too many that look like us. So you're competing in a space against the Ryan Sirhans of the world, right? So what gets them is the wealth, it's the look, it's the Lamborghinis, the Ferraris. My brother, I used to sell deals when he pulled up in a Lambo on me. I'm like, God damn. And I told him, like, how you getting into that? You should stay in this advertising shit. I felt stupid. But I love it though. You know what I'm saying? It's motivating. So, bro, just think about how do we want to see success? You know how we want to see success. You know how our youngins want to see it.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna believe you at first, but just show them. Continuously show them.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's gonna come through. It's gonna trickle, bro. It's
gonna trickle. That's great. That's great tips, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. You got me excited. I'm ready to post. I'm ready to. We go to Miami all the time, man. So if I come through, you got rental. You do Airbnb and all that.
So actually, that's one thing I don't do is Airbnb. Right? I actually talk against Airbnb, right? Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Number one, and it's not stable. Right? I love putting a tenant that's paying me long term because I know that money's coming in every single month. Airbnb, I've seen there's a lot of markets that are doing legislation against it. I see a lot of people where 1 month you're making money, next month you're losing money, right? So it's just not a model that I've done a lot of. There's people making money, and I'm sure it just hasn't been my model.
No, that makes sense. But if you got like a rental property, if you got 90% of the units, you only got 10% of units. Then Airbnb where it's not really affecting the cash flow.
For sure. Like our hotel, I told you, got a hotel in DR. We Airbnb that hotel. I think if you're in a place, if you're in a place that is that's like full of like tourism, like Miami probably do really well in Airbnb. That's in DR in Puerto Plata. If you know where that's on the North Coast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where the hotel is. Does really well in Airbnb. New York City probably gonna do really well in Airbnb. I got a lot of my portfolio in Ohio. I don't think that's the best market for Airbnb, right? So it just depends on where you're investing.
Why Ohio?
Oh man, the yields, the returns are phenomenal, man. Right? So what you could buy a house for versus what you could rent it for, it's just sick. In Miami, people are striving to get a 4 or 5% return on a rental, 6% return on a rental, right? After all the costs because the prices are high. In Ohio, I could buy a house for $80,000 that'll rent for $1,500, right? So we're talking about making 13, 12, 13, 14% a year on the property, right? I can't do that I can't do that in New York City. I can't do that in Miami. So you don't have to live where you invest as long as you implement strategies and systems.
Message.
Yeah.
You're a bad man. You're a bad man.
Wow. That's the only word I got right now is wow. Okay, I had a question. I got it. Because you talked about like so much stuff, like a lot is going on. I want to pivot into like balancing all that. Like, how do you balance the work, the family, mental health, friends? What is your, I think that'd be a great, I know you're about to drop some real gems for the young people, for the old people, for everybody on how
Yeah,
you
look,
balance that.
I love to travel. Traveling is one of my favorite things to do, right? So every so often, I just take the families, go on a trip, turn the phone off, and it's all about them, right? Because you got to give the family the time too. I also have two daughters. I got 11 and a 13-year-old daughter. They're both in middle school, and so once a month we do this thing called it's called Daddy Princess, right? So we're part of this group where once a month we just go camping, right? And it's a bunch of dads and daughters, only dads and daughters. We go camping and we go places where there's no signal. So I gotta be 100% on them, right? And that's like the quality time because life is quick, life is short, and before you know it, they're gonna be 25 years old, right, and living their own life. So I want to enjoy every bit of their time that I can.
Yo, and we just got a comment on Instagram. Poppin' for Shay said, I can't wait to join the membership. Sayam, you're so knowledgeable. I admire you so much. I've been watching YouTube for some months now. Nothing but love.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You already know. Poppin' for Shay, you already know. Make sure you subscribe, you like. It's brothers like this. It's people like Sayam out here, man. But we act like they aren't out here. That's why I want you to get the social media. I wish you would have came through the feed. You had me when we was trying to get that Newark property, bro. But like what you're doing is first we could tell the passion you have. It's not just about the money.
For sure.
The money's cool, right? That's one of the engines that obviously it's a perk.
Yeah.
But I could tell when you mentioned your mentors, I mean your mentees, right? Seeing them be successful, seeing them all that, like what is, I don't like to ask the mountaintop because Udi kind of changed me. I was like, yo, what's your mountaintop? He said, I don't ever want to see it. But what does that look like for you, bro? What will make you feel satisfied and fulfilled to be like, I'm gonna venture off to another vertical, another industry, whatever?
Yeah. So I think one of the most fulfilling things for me is when I see my mentees become coaches, right? And I'm like, wow, that went full circle. So when I start seeing my mentees, having their own circle of people that are following them and learning, and they're passing the knowledge on. When I see my kids buy their first property, their second property, their third property, I do some with my daughters, right? Every Sunday, we call it the Real Estate Roundtable. I don't know if you've seen it on my Instagram, but we just, so I ask them questions about real estate, and I'm teaching them about real estate. And every question they get right, I give them $100. And so they're studying, they're listening, right? And so at the end of the day, I mean, last year we did it, and I gave them a trip to Jamaica as a trip because they got 100% on the Real Estate Roundtable. So I was like, you know what, we're going to Jamaica. My wife's Jamaican, right? So like we're gonna go to Jamaica. We're gonna bring grandma, right? Bring my wife's mother, and we can have a ball and have a great time. So things like this. When I start seeing all my hard work, when I see people that I've trained and showed them how to do it from scratch start becoming the teacher, then I'm like, I'm good. All right, I did my thing. I did what I was supposed to do. Let me go enjoy myself.
That's when do you start building your daughters and your family's portfolio?
Oh man, that's already in the process.
Right? I already know. That's like, when does that happen? Like, do you have them involved in the tie from soup to nuts? Do you have them involved in everything?
Yes. My kids hate looking at houses. They hate looking at property. Every time I say, "Oh, we're gonna go see a house," like, "Oh no, Dad, not another one," right? But they listen and they actually are learning. So we went on a walk the other day, and so we're walking by this house, and my daughter's like, "Oh, Dad, that house has to be worth XYZ because it got a pool and it's on a corner and there's a lake behind it." I'm like, when did you start analyzing houses like that, right? But it was a proud moment. But yeah, no, I showed them everything